One expert predicts a 90% market collapse where gold fails. Another says hard assets are your only shield against a dollar wrecking ball.
Same data, two completely different survival plans, and they can't both be right.
The clashes, the consensus, and every expert's bottom line in 5 minutes. Let's get into it.
Today's tape, 5 experts. Harry Dent on the crash, George Gammon on the dollar, Carter Braxton Worth on technicals, plus Ken McElroy and Chris Vermeulen.
From 90% drops to housing deficits, let's see where these experts collide.
Let's start with the fight over the ultimate safe haven. Harry Dent, the economist famous for his demographic warnings, says gold is a trap in this crash.
Dent's logic is that in a deflationary collapse, people sell everything for cash. But George Gammon, the macro expert, says you absolutely need a 10% allocation to gold and silver.
Wait, so the world is ending and the gold guy says don't buy gold? That's a first.
Exactly. Dent thinks cash and high-quality bonds are the only winners, while Gammon sees hard assets as the only shield against a global dollar wrecking ball.
Then we have a massive split on the bond market. Carter Braxton Worth, the chart specialist at Worth Charting, sees yields climbing.
Carter points to the TLT failing at its 200-day average and the Japanese bond market eroding. Meanwhile, Dent says yields will crash towards zero as people panic buy government debt.
So Carter says rates go up and Harry says they fall through the floor? Those are two very different portfolios.
It's the ultimate test of technicals versus macro cycles. Carter is following the tape. Dent is following history. While they fight over gold, the technical experts are seeing the same red flags in tech. Both Carter Braxton Worth and Chris Vermeulen say the leadership is failing.
Right. Carter is watching the memory trade and semiconductors flip, noting Micron has already dropped from 1,250 down to 1,000. Chris calls the rotation into defensive sectors a huge orange flag.
So the big tech engine is finally running out of gas?
It looks that way. Money is moving into utilities and healthcare, which usually happens right before the market takes a breather or a dive.
Harry Dent and George Gammon also agree that we've been living on borrowed times since 2008.
Both argue that central bank intervention has fundamentally broken the free market. Dent calls it the everything bubble, while Gammon warns the status quo is finally breaking down.
So no matter how you slice the data, the government can't keep the party going forever?
That's the consensus. The winter season of the economy is here, whether we're ready or not.
Time for the final scorecard, Carter Braxton Worth. Watch the apex formation. If leaders like Walmart and Home Depot continue to break their moving averages, the broad market is in trouble. He's saying the technicals are basically screaming, watch out below?
New York City of Yes Plan is a drop in the bucket. You can't fix a 200,000 unit deficit with 6,000 units a year.
His bottom line, regulation is killing supply. If the math doesn't work for developers, the homes won't get built.
Chris Vermeulen, use stop orders and watch the defensive sectors. He expects a range-bound market or a washout in precious metals.
His advice is to stay nimble and have an exit plan before the correction hits?
It's George Gammon. We are in the fourth turning crisis. A strong dollar is a global wrecking ball that will eventually force a systemic reset.
He's watching Japan and the boomer passive bid as the two biggest threats to dollar liquidity.
And Harry Dent, get out of the way. He predicts a 90% collapse that takes the S&P 500 down to the 500 level.
90%? If he's right, cash is the only thing left standing.
That's the final verdict. We've seen where they clash on gold and yields and where they agree on the tech rotation.
If you want the deep dive charts and the full logic behind these moves, the original interviews are linked below.
I'm definitely checking out those bond charts. I'm subscribing for the next one.
Like this video if it helped you navigate the noise, subscribe for tomorrow's verdict, and we'll see you in the full interviews.